Question 15. A glass ornament in the shape of a sphere is to be packaged in a box with soft foam pellets for protection. The ornament has a diameter of 6 inches, a box is the cube, side length is 8 inches. First things first, let's go ahead and change our diameter to radius. So when we're using our formula, we don't plug in the wrong number, because the volume for a sphere is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed so we'll do 4/3 times 3.14 times 3 to the third power, or 3 cubed. And when we plug that into the calculator, we get 113.04. And again, volume is in 3 dimensions, so it's cubic units, and we have inches, so it's cubic inches. The volume of a box, they didn't give us a formula on that, but we know that the area of the base times the height will give us the volume. The area of the base is a square, so it's side times side. The height is also that same length, so we can write the formula if we want to for the cube as side to the third power, or side cubed, because length, width, and the height are all the same measurement. So we have 8 cubed, 8 to the third power. And again, if we plug that into the calculator, 8 times 8 times 8 is 512. And again, cubic inches. So the volume of the foam pellets is the difference between our two volumes, and the volume of the entire box is 512. We're taking up 103.04 with the ornament itself. So the space that's left for us to fill with foam pellets is 398.96 cubic inches. For 16, we have our billboard question, where we're setting up a proportion. The billboard advertisement has a right triangle as a part of its design. In the scaled version the graphic designers made, the base of the triangle is 3, and the height of the triangle is 4. On the full-size billboard, the base of the triangle is 48, and we are asked what is the height. So reading the problem, I drew a visualization to help me make sure that I set my proportion right. So I'm going to do height compared to base, so 4/3 is the same proportion as height is to base, h/48. Now that I have my proportion set up, we can cross multiply. 3 times h is the same amount as 4 times 48. So when we solve that, we get 3 times h equals 192. So we divide both sides by 3 to get h by itself. We see that the height of our triangle excuse me, is 64 inches tall. We're going to look at 18 next, dealing with the Pythagorean theorem. And remember, the Pythagorean theorem says that the square of the hypotenuse equals the sum of the square of the legs. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. And it's telling us that the legs are measuring 10 and 3. So we'll plug those numbers in for our A and B. So we have 10 squared plus 3 squared. We know that 10 squared is 10 times 10, 100. 3 squared is 3 times 3, 9. So we add them together, we get 109. That's not our final answer, though. That's the same as the hypotenuse squared. So to get C by itself, we need to do the opposite of square, which is square root. So we need to take the square root of 109. It does not come out evenly. That's why they tell us to round 2 decimal places. And it is approximately 10.44 units. It doesn't give us which measurement it is. Let's look at number 21, emergency room parking lot. Notice we have a semicircle at the top, a rectangular parking lot with 2 triangular shapes cut out. So first, it's asking us for the area of the 2 triangles. So the area equals, and since there's 2 of them, we can put a 2 in front of our formula, since they're both the same. And the area of the triangle is 1/2 times base, which will tell us the bottom of the triangle is 11, times the height, which is 20. So again, that covers both triangles. 2 times 1/2 would be 1, and then 1 times 11 times 20 gives us 220 square feet. For the area of the half circle, remember we have to say that it's a half circle in our formula, so 1/2. And then we have pi times radius squared. Look at the picture and we can see that they did give us the radius, not the diameter. So we can use 10. So we'll have 3.14 times 10 squared. So again, enter all that into a calculator, and you will see that the area for our semicircle is 157. Again, square feet. The area of a rectangle is next, and our rectangle is 80 by 65. So the area equals 80 times 65, which will give us the area of 5,200 square feet. So when we put it all together, we have the area of the entire shape being the 5,200 square feet rectangle plus the 157 square foot semicircle. But remember, the 2 triangles are cut out, so we have to subtract them. So we're subtracting off the 220 square feet from the 2 triangles to get a total area for the parking lot of 5,137 square feet. Next, we're given data and asked to do some statistics. Our range, mean, median, and mode. So first things first, we want to put our numbers in descending order, or ascending order, excuse me. Go from smallest to biggest. So we have 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, another 12, 13, 15, and 19. 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. Okay, just making sure I have all my numbers there. Our range is the largest minus the smallest, so we have 19 minus 7 to have a range of 12. Our mode, MO, most often, is also 12. 12 is the only number that repeated. Median is our middle number, and since there's an odd number, it will be one of the numbers in our data set. And we said that there was 9 numbers, and so we're looking for the 5th number, so there'll be 4 on either side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us 12 again. Wouldn't it be funny if the mean was 12 as well? But when we do that, remember mean, we have to add them all up. So I'll just put sum instead of writing 7 plus 8 plus 10, so all. And then we're dividing it by 9. When we add them all up, we get 107. And so it's not quite 12. We get, rounding 2 decimal places, 11.89. If we were to round it to the nearest whole number, we could put 12 again. Let's look at 24 next, where we're doing our weighted means. So remember, weighted means you're multiplying the weight times the scores and then finding the sum of that. And so for sociology class, homework counts as 12%. So next to our homework score here of 88, we're going to put our 12%. And if we just go ahead and multiply that part right now, we see that that's 10.56 points towards the final grade. We continue reading and see that quizzes are worth 28% of the grade. So our 82% of quizzes times 28% of the total grade will give us 22.96 points towards the final grade. And then the exams count for 60% of the grade. So we're going to multiply our 75% times 60% or 0.60, and that gives us 45 points towards the final grade. So the student's current average by its weighted mean means we get to add these all up. And when we add the 10.56, 22.96, and the 45, we get 78.52%. So high C, almost a B. Okay, here we have our pizza pie. Go. Notice the story problem tells us that we have 500 pizzas, which represents our total amount of data in our pie chart. And so we're just finding the number of pizzas sold each month, rounding to the nearest integer. So this is mostly calculator work for us. We're taking our 500 and multiplying it by the percents that we're given. So for ham, we have 0.05 for 5% times 500. Onion is 0.15 times 500. Sausage is 0.30 or 0.3 times 500. Mushrooms is, notice now they give us a decimal. So again, we're still going 2 places to about 0.1420. There's 0.142 if you drop that last 0. times 500. And then our pepperoni is 0.3580 times 500. Notice the answer tells us to round to the nearest integer, nearest whole number. We're not going to count partial pizzas. We want whole pizzas. And so if we do those calculations, we see that the ham are 25 pizzas. The onion at 15% was 75 pizzas. Sausage, 150. Second most favorite pizza, mushroom, 71. And pepperoni, 179. Okay. And now we have our last question, which is a histogram. We know it's a histogram because the bars are touching without even looking for intervals, which this does have intervals as well, hence histogram. It says how many students scored in each range. Well, my answer is going to be C chart. And no, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here. I'm just going to put my answers above the bar. It just makes it easier to read instead of writing down all the ranges in my problem answer. So in the 50s, we're up at 2. The 60s are between 6 and 8, so that would be 7. The 70s, we have 4. The 80s, we're up here at 15. And the 90s, we're at 5. So there's all the students that scored in each range. So how many students total took the exam? Well, we're adding them up. So we have 2 plus 7 would be 9, plus 4 more would be 13, plus 15 more would be 28, plus 5 more would give us 33 total students. So then to answer our last question, what students scored 80% or higher? I'm rewording that because higher than 80% means that if one of those 80% exactly was in that 15 range, we wouldn't be counting it. So again, I just reword that because I'm sure that's what they were supposed to mean. And we know how important order of the words are. So 80 or more. We can see the 80 and then 90 column is 15 plus 5, which would give us 20 out of the 33. And if you want to make sure you have your decimal in the right place, you can set up a proportion. Your percent over 100 equals 20 over 33. Otherwise, if you just do 20 divided by 33, make sure you move that decimal 2 places to the right. So you can get it in percent, which is 60.6%. Good luck on exam 2.